The full trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu has landed, and it has given Star Wars fans a lot more to chew on than the brief teasers did.
Let's save the rest for after dinner.
No dice, Mando! We're digging in right now. Jabba might be long gone, but Hutts play a big part in The Mandalorian and Grogu. At least one of the bad guys Din Djarin is hunting down is one of those big burly crime bosses. At one point, Mando fights one in an arena, and Disney's all-access promotional image site identifies him as Rata the Hutt, Jabba's son who appeared in the Clone Wars.
How do you like your little buddy now? Still cute?
You know, he's reminding me of you more and more.
With that in mind, it seems like Mando and Grogu are going to be spending a chunk of time on the swampy Hutt homeworld, Nar Huttar, as well as one of its moons, Nar Shaddaa. Nicknamed Smuggler's Moon, Nar Shaddaa is entirely covered in urban sprawl and is a hive of criminal activity. So the parts of the trailer that kinda look like they're happening on the set of Blade Runner, fans on Reddit and elsewhere have made an educated guess that they're set on Nar Shaddaa. Up to this point, Nar Shaddaa has only been mentioned in Star Wars movies and TV shows, though it has appeared in several comic books and video games. Nar Huttar, however, appeared as a setting quite a few times in the animated series The Clone Wars. Playing cards are a popular storytelling device in fiction, often symbolizing a trickster character or something that might be seen as a gamble. It looks like The Mandalorian and Grogu is going for something similar, but you might not have noticed unless you've seen Solo or played the video game Star Wars Outlaws. In the new trailer, Colonel Ward, the new character played by Sigourney Weaver, gives Mando his next target in the form of a hexagonal card. To the untrained eye, it's just a piece of paper cut in a peculiar way to give off a sci-fi vibe. To fans, it's unmistakably the same kind of playing card that's used in the game Sabacc.
So this is, Sabacc?
Sabacc.
Sabacc. Got it.
Sabacc is basically space blackjack. It's a favorite pastime of Lando Calrissian and other galactic rogues. You can even play it for yourself in Star Wars Outlaws. So when Mando says,
We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards,
he means that more literally than you might think. It looks like he and Grogu are in for their riskiest mission so far. Just before Grogu gets in a floating bassinet and starts zooming around so fast that Mando can barely keep up with him, that little stroller's original owner, a Rodian like Greedo, gets scared out by some big burly aliens smashing through a door. The writing above that door, which is in the Aurebesh alphabet, translates to Weathers Apollo. Undoubtedly, this is a tribute to Carl Weathers, who rocketed to fame as Apollo Creed in 1976's Rocky. Before his death in February 2024, Weathers was a regular on the Mandalorian Disney Plus series, playing Greef Karga, who goes from Bounty Hunters Guild agent to the High Magistrate of the planet Navarro. While his relationship with Din Djarin starts out a little rocky, he ultimately becomes one of the Mandalorian's closest allies and friends. He's even the one who nicknamed him Mando.
Ah, Mando!
Undoubtedly, Weathers would have been in The Mandalorian and Grogu if he hadn't passed away at the age of 76. At the very least, he is getting this subtle nod in the movie. It's a tricky thing to make a theatrical movie out of a TV series. How do you show that this is a bigger, more important story that deserves a big screen treatment and costs like $15 to see? One way the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu is making that clear is by prominently showing the unmasked face of Pedro Pascal, as he's seemingly being held captive by some Hutts. And there's more to it than there even might initially seem. In the 24 episodes of the series, plus his appearances in the Book of Boba Fett, Din Djarin has shown his face, an act of sacrilege in the ancient Mandalorian way he follows, a grand total of 3 times. At the end of the first season, IG-11 has to remove Din's helmet to heal him of life-threatening injuries. Din has to take off his disguise helmet in Season 2 to maintain his cover, while infiltrating an Imperial refinery.
In order to access the network, the terminal has to scan your face. Let's go.
And he takes off his helmet one last time when he thinks he's saying goodbye to Grogu for good after Luke Skywalker agrees to train him. In a Hollywood Reporter Actors Roundtable, Pascal admitted that his role has been almost entirely voiceover, with a body double in the armor. Since some early tries for him to act in the costume, he said, "My body wasn't up for the task as far as like the 4 months of it. But now we've figured it out, which is super cool, and amazingly, it gave me the opportunity to be able to go and do something else. So, the unmasked bits of the trailer proved that Pascal was present to shoot some scenes in the movie and wasn't, well, off doing something else instead. Fans grew to love the ragtag crew of the Starship Ghost in Star Wars Rebels, the animated series that introduced beloved characters like Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren, and of course Gara Zeb Aurelios, Zeb for short. We already knew that Zeb would be making an appearance in The Mandalorian and Grogu, but the new trailer finally gives us a brief look at him interacting with the title characters. He seems to approve.
I like this kid.
After the Empire destroys his home planet, Zeb dedicates his life to taking them down. Over the course of 4 seasons of Rebels, he exhibits countless acts of bravery and plays an important role in the rebellion. He appeared for the first time in live action in the 3rd season of The Mandalorian for around 30 seconds, but he never actually ended up crossing paths with Din Djarin and his little buddy during the show's run. That changes now, as Zeb will finally be returning for more than just a cameo. He is hoping that he plays a major role in the story.
So, see you around?
Not if we see you first.
Mando is far from the only bounty hunter in the galaxy, many of whom cross his path. In The Mandalorian and Grogu, he'll be interacting with one of the smoothest operators around, the Cuzo killer Embo. The sight of his distinctive hat leaves no room for doubt that he's appearing in live action. And judging by the YouTube comments under the new trailer, fans are pretty dang hyped. If you haven't seen the Clone Wars, imagine an even deadlier alien version of Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat. That's pretty much Embo. Growing up on the planet Fatrong, he was affected by much heavier gravity than most of us are used to. That makes him a high-jumping force to be reckoned with whenever he leaves his home turf. If that's somehow not cool enough, he also has a pet Anuba, basically a domesticated wolf named Marok, who will also be making his live-action debut. Judging by the trailer, it seems that Embo has been contracted by the Hutts to bring them Mando and Grogu. Hopefully, he'll get the chance to show off some of his moves. Here's another one for the Clone Wars fans out there. It seems clear from the trailer that Grogu and Mando will get separated for a chunk of the movie and have to get out of some scrapes to reunite their little family. In particular, Din Djarin is shown staring down a large reptilian creature in some waist-deep water. This isn't just any scary monster, however. Even though its coloration is a little different, this looks a lot like Dragonsnake, though this one appears to be an albino. They're native to swampy planets like Now Hutt, so it definitely makes sense for it to be there. One can very briefly be seen pulling R2-D2 down into the waters of Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back. It's just a quick glimpse of its back though, and R2 escapes. The Dragonsnake's biggest moment up to now was most likely a fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi in an episode of The Clone Wars. It almost got him! Well, okay, maybe not. Din might have a tougher time with his. He doesn't have the Darksaber anymore. A little over halfway through the trailer, we see Grogu, with no Mando in sight, talking to a character seated in a rocking chair. Though we don't recognize the fellow as anyone from previous Star Wars lore, what he says definitely rang some bells for us.
Are you scared? You should be.
The brief glimpses we get of this setting gives off a swampy vibe reminiscent of Dagobah, and his line also sounds pretty similar to an exchange between Luke Skywalker and Yoda from The Empire Strikes Back.
I'm not afraid.
You will be. You will be.
There's obviously an interesting role reversal going on here. While Luke insists he isn't scared, Grogu readily admits that he is, and this time it's a member of Yoda's race who is on the lower end of the power dynamic, compared to Yoda holding all the cards while mentoring Luke to become a Jedi in Empire. Perhaps there's some foreshadowing at play here, and Grogu's experience will give him a boost in control over his power like Luke got. There's one small moment early in the trailer that got a lot of people talking. See if you can identify this voice.
Whoa, for this price I'll tell you whatever you want.
I'm looking for a Hutt.
Closed for the night, thank you.
A whole bunch of commenters caught that it was none other than legendary director Martin Scorsese, who has been friends with George Lucas since their early days making films in the 1970s. A YouTube commenter wrote, "Wow, Martin Scorsese, welcome to the Star Wars family." On X, Daniel Richtman, who is known for spreading some Marvel rumors that often turn out to be true, wondered if it was Scorsese's voice. Even USA Today got in on it, saying the food stand owner sure sounds like the Oscar-winning director. The paper noted that Jon Favreau, the director of The Mandalorian and Grogu, had a role in Scorsese's movie The Wolf of Wall Street. One more clue, the sign on the stand says Hugo's in Arabesh. Hugo was Scorsese's 2011 film that was his love letter to early cinema. It was nominated for Best Picture at that year's Academy Awards. After a few hours of speculation, Polygon confirmed with Disney that the revered filmmaker does indeed voice the Ardenian business owner. The site framed it as the Killers of the Flower Moon director making peace with nerds. He had previously criticized the Marvel Cinematic Universe as not cinema, and being something more like amusement park rides.